Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today's question is it possible to beat Ultrakill without killing enemies? No, the answer is obviously no. But that brings up another question. How many kills does it take to beat Ultrakill? Let's quickly go over the rules. 1. No glitches or going out of bounds. If an enemy dies, as long as it doesn't happen directly because of me, it's fine. 3. I will have every weapon unlocked already, since having more weapons available will make the run more interesting. Now that the rules are out of the way, let's start the run. After dropping down into a small cramped hallway, it doesn't take long to find the first enemies of the game. I can just walk past them without killing them, since the door is unlocked, and drop down deeper. After dropping down, I enter a room with several enemies, and the door forwards locks. To unlock the door, I need to kill the enemies, but instead of that, I just punch a hole through the wall and skip it. The next couple rooms are unlocked, so I can just jump past the enemies and go straight for the exits. After this, I get locked in a room, and there's no breakable walls or anything I can use to escape, so I'm forced to kill 12 enemies here. In the final room is a malicious face blocking the exit to the level, and I have to kill him to get into the exit. I thought I could try and use his explosive blast to get him to blow himself up, but it didn't seem to work, so I had to add another kill. After defeating the malicious face though, I can drop down the hole and finish the first level of the game. In the second level, in the first room, the door is locked, and I have to kill an entire horde of enemies to progress. It looks like I have to kill 12 enemies here to progress, but I have a trick up my sleeve. I can get the fills to attack me when I'm near an edge, and they'll fall into a grinder and die, letting me get away without technically killing them. The 4 strays attack with bullets instead, and I can't get them to fall into the pit, so I have to kill them directly. In the next room there's an open vent, and when I go up there, I get a blue skull. I go through the next few rooms, and lure the enemies under some crushers so I don't have to kill them. After a bit of progression, I found an offshoot with a blue pedestal and put the skull on it, opening a secret exit to the stage. When going through a secret exit, I get to skip the current stage I'm on to do a secret stage instead. So if the secret stage has less kills than the remainder of the normal route, it's better to go through that. Every secret stage functions differently than the main levels of the game. This secret stage is a maze, where an invincible monster chases after me as I have to try and find the exit. Little known fact about me, I'm a coward. I am absolutely terrified of horror games, and can barely play them, and since this stage is a miniature horror game, that's a problem. I was so scared that I raised the gamma up by 0.5, making things brighter. The level itself is very easy, and I can shoot the monster to temporarily get rid of it, and I beat it on the first try. The next stage I go to is a complete joke. The ceiling of the first room is made out of glass, so if I blow it up with an explosion, I can climb up and get to the boss of this stage immediately. The boss itself is easy, but I do have to kill it. After beating this stage, I drop down into the next stage, 0-4. This level is the first level that is really difficult. The first half of the level is easy. I get locked in a room and have to kill 14 enemies at one point, but those were the only kills at that point. In the final room of the level though, an entire horde of enemies shows up, and I have to kill them all to progress. Instead of killing them directly though, what if the glass beneath their feet just happened to disappear? The fills are super easy to get to fall into the pit, since they just charge straight at me, but the strays and schisms are much harder to get onto the glass panels. They tend to walk away from me, but no matter what I try to do, only 1 or 2 would ever step on the glass. After a while of trying to figure out how to get all the enemies onto the glass panels, I found that hiding in the corners made the enemies walk closer so they could try and get a better shot on me. It takes a bit, but I lure all the enemies onto the glass, and they just happen to fall into a grinder. After all of the enemies are killed, a second wave of filths show up, but they are all easy to get onto a glass pane since they follow me. After an easy wave of enemies, the door opens up and I drop to the final level of World 0. The final level is actually very simple. Just jump over a small gap and I enter a boss fight against 2 Cerberuses. This level actually has no kills at all, since I can get the Cerberuses to blow themselves up. After this, I drop down into the first layer of hell, Limbo. The first level of Limbo is a joke. At the very beginning of the level is a fountain, and if I throw a coin into it, it opens up a secret exit. The secret stage is also incredibly easy. I just have to solve a few puzzles, and the exit opens up. After beating this level, I drop down into level 1 again. Turns out World 1's secret stage exit leads right back to level 1, which is unfortunate, since that removes a super easy way to skip an entire stage. In older versions of the game, the secret exit led to level 2, but this was changed because a lot of streamers skipped the entirety of 1-1 when their chat told them to throw a coin in the fountain. Now that I'm back at 1-1, I have no choice but to go explore the stage, unless I want to go back to Puzzle Land. The first few rooms are easy, but eventually I get locked in a room with a few drones. The drones are actually really helpful to me. If I kill a drone, when it hits something, it will explode, which can kill many more enemies. Since there are only 2 enemies here, I can kill 1 drone and get it to explode the second drone, saving me 1 kill. After this, a second swarm of drones come in, and there are 4 this time. It's much trickier to line up all the drones to explode, but it's not too bad to get them all to die. The next few hallways have some more drones and other enemies, but I can just walk past them all. In one of these hallways, a bunch of enemies just happened to kill each other, and I somehow got the Ultrakill rank for a brief moment. I get a skull and bring it to a pedestal to open a door. I get locked in a room with 4 strays and 6 schisms, so I have to kill them all. After that, 6 drones come in, but with some good timing, I can kill all 6 with only 1 kill. I then drop down into 1-2. The first room has a large structure with a ton of enemies, but I can just go around it and climb up into the building. In this building, I'm immediately attacked by 12 filths, and I have to kill them all. After killing them all, a second wave of enemies show up, 2 drones and 4 schisms. Killing all of these enemies with the least amount of kills possible sucks. To kill them all, I can get the drones to shoot most of the schisms, but I want to keep 1 alive. Once only 1 schism is alive, I want to get the schism to shoot the drone, and then the drone has to explode into the schism, killing all of them at once. This is way easier said than done though. Every time I attempted this, the drones would either explode way too early, or I'd accidentally have 1 drone live, or I left a schism alive. It was possible, it just took a while to do. After getting into the next room, I can slide into a secret passage and use the railgun to open a shortcut to the end of the level. Right before I can leave though, I get locked in one final room. In this room, there are 6 strays and 2 street cleaners. As far as I'm aware, I can't get these enemies to kill each other, so I have to kill them myself. After this, a few more enemies show up, but I can use a drone to kill all of them with only 1 kill, letting me drop down into 1-3. 1-3 is one of the easiest levels so far. At the start of the level is a locked door with a pedestal in front of it. I can either get the blue or red skulls, and getting just one of them will unlock the door. The blue skull is the easiest of the 2 to get. Just go right, jump down a staircase, and it's right there. Then I can just come back the way I came and unlock the door. Behind the door is a hideous mask, but it isn't difficult to kill, letting me drop down to the final level of World 1. 1-4 is somehow even easier than 1-3. I can just walk through 3 hallways, blow up a window, and get to the boss immediately. The boss is not that hard either, and doesn't even die, since it runs away before I can kill it. I also got a P rank, which is probably going to be one of the very few P ranks I will get on this run. After killing the boss, I drop down to the second layer of hell, Lust. The first level requires a bit of platforming to beat without killing enemies. In the first room, there's a destructible wall that leads outside of the buildings. Once I'm outside, I can jump around the side of the building to get onto a later part of the stage. I have to climb around another building, but just jumping around is not enough, since I need to get more height to get on the main path again. I can use the shotgun's core to provide several explosions, which I can use to get onto the path and get to the exit. After this, I can drop down into level 2-2. 2-2 is a pretty simple level. At the start of the stage, I'm locked in a very big room with a ton of enemies. Unlike other locked doors, I don't have to kill the enemies to unlock it. To unlock it, I have to find 3 circuits around the room and break them all. After this, there's some enemy-filled hallways I have to run through until I make it back to another huge room with a locked door. After breaking another 3 circuits, the door unlocks and I drop down into 2-3. This level has a secret exit, and it requires less kills than the main route, so I'm going to go through that. To enter the secret exit though, I have to deactivate 3 circuits across the entire level. The first one is easy to get. I just have to go under a staircase and destroy it. The second one is under a ledge and some water, and I can destroy that easily as well. The third one requires the blue skull to get, which means I have to kill a bunch of enemies blocking one door. I can get the fills to throw themselves in a grinder, and then get the drones to shoot all the other enemies. After this, a malicious face will spawn, and I can use it to kill the remaining enemies. Since the only enemy left is the malicious face though, I will have to kill it. After killing the malicious face, I get the blue skull, unlock a door, and break the final circuit. This turned off the water in a previous room, and I can now enter the secret stage. This stage is by far the hardest and cruelest challenge of the entire game. It's a dating simulator. After this stage is 2-4, and it's another simple stage like 1-4. I get attacked by a giant hand, shoot it a ton, and it retreats. After this, I get to a big empty room, and Minos crashes in through the ceiling. He's not very difficult to kill though, so I take him out, get a P rank, and drop down into the third layer of hell, Gluttony. Unlike the previous worlds, Gluttony only has 2 levels. The first level starts pretty badly. I start in a giant room with a large amount of enemies. I can lure the strays and street cleaners into the acid, so the only enemies left are the Mind Flayer and the Cerberus. I can get the Mind Flayer to kill Cerberus with its attacks, but that means that only the Mind Flayer is left, and I have to kill it. I can't seem to get the Mind Flayer to go into the acid, so I have to kill it myself. In the next room are 3 Cerberuses. I can weaken them with my weapons, and then get them to explode themselves. The next room is a big open room, but the door is unlocked, so I can skip it. In the next room, the door locks behind me, and an insanely large horde of enemies spawn in. This part of the level sucks for this challenge. There are 7 enemies that I can get the drones to kill, but they are all over the room, and I'm constantly getting shot at, making it harder to get the drones to get a clean shot. If I get shot too much as well, I have to reset the entire room and try to kill every enemy again. If the other enemies get a shot on the drones, I also have to reset the room, since I need the drones to kill all of the enemies. It takes a while, but eventually I kill everything, and use the remaining drones to explode each other, finishing it with only 1 kill. A second group of enemies spawn in though, and they are all malicious faces, so I have to kill all 3. And since they can't damage each other, that's another 3 kills I have to do. In the final room, a horde of filth and some drones spawn in, but I can get the filths to walk into some acid, and I can kill 1 drone to cause a chain reaction that kills all of them. After this, a second wave of enemies spawn. The best way to deal with this wave is to kill the Mind Flayer immediately, and then lead the remaining enemies into the acid, which finally opens the exit, and I drop down to the final level. The final level for this challenge is very easy. Walk through a few hallways as an ominous voice talks, and eventually make it to a big empty room, where I have to fight Gabriel. He's not too hard to beat, and after beating him up, he runs away, and I can drop down into the 4th layer of hell, greed. Gabriel returns to heaven, and since he was defeated by a machine, he had the holy light of God removed from him, and will die soon if he can't prove himself worthy by killing the machine. Unfortunately, this is the end of Act 1, and will be the end of Part 1 of this video. Before I end the video though, I still have to go over the total kills so far. World 0 had 32 kills, 13 from 0-1, 4 from 0-2, 0 from 0-S, 1 from 0-3, 14 from 0-4, and 0 from 0-5. Limbo had 31 kills, 0 from 1-S, 9 from 1-1, 21 from 1-2, 1 from 1-3, and 0 from 1-4. Lust had 2 kills, 0 from 2-1 and 2-2, 1 from 2-3, 0 from 2-S, and 1 from 2-4. Gluttony had 7 kills, all of which came from 3-1. That means Act 1 and the prelude of Ultrakill had a total of 72 kills. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed it, it would help a lot if you could like and subscribe. If everything goes as planned, the next video should be Mario and Luigi Brothership. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Heavy steps, ragged breathing. There isn't much time left. It might already be too late. The labyrinth pathways of arbitrary sharp turns seem stranger and stranger, as panic blotted out the once deeply ingrained memories that usually guided me. Every corner felt a stranger. Every straight line too long. The bell tolls for me. I bit down harder on the last of my rations, held only by the skin of my teeth. It barely hung on. I cannot talk. It barely hung on as I kept frantically looking around, hoping for the few scraps of burning memory of mine to find a familiar sight that would lead me to salvation. The gates must be closing by now. The last few barely making it. The rest of us never stood a chance. Suddenly, from a blind spot, a figure struck me. There was no time to react before I came crashing down onto the cold, hard ground. I struggled to regain my senses to at least see what fate would befall me in my final moments, but even in the abyss of endless terror, my mind could never have imagined the horror I witnessed. Oh my god. I love this level. I love being an asshole. If there's an option to be an asshole in a video game, obviously the best option. I don't really want to. Like, I mean, clearly from the introduction, I'm lost too, but also, fuck you, I don't like you. It's really that simple. I don't wanna. I mean, what if I don't want to go? Don't wanna. No, I can't say don't wanna. Ah, I don't go to school. Oh, I don't wanna. I wanna say don't wanna again. I mean, I haven't been nice either, so that's kind of hypocritical. I don't like either of these options. I want to pick, I'm going to go not to do school or whatever. I don't fucking know. I don't know. Sure, why not? Now, what are you talking about? That it always works out. Sure, fine. Fuck it. I don't care. I mean, not wrong, entirely. But there's also, if nothing matters, then who gives a shit? If nothing matters, do what you want. Now, it won't necessarily be the same anyways. Here's different variations. You're not a human, you're a fucking robot. What are you talking about? Oh. Oh, I never noticed that. The border is closing in a little. That's actually kind of cool. Man, I love dying a painful death. That's my favorite pastime. What I do every day. It's so fun. Meh. I mean, it can be both at the same time. Who cares? Oh. Okay, that's actually kind of depressing. I actually did not know that, though. That's interesting. That is an interesting little tidbit. I love how the fucking dating sim turned into existential... Man, I cannot talk. Existential dread simulator. That's my favorite. In the end, it starts with... something. That's my only option. What's the point of giving me an option if it's my only option? I'm not reading all this. In the end, nothing matters. Did I see that? In the end, nothing even matters. I cannot sing. I suck at singing. How long does this level take? I forget. Something, I am talking. I am so good at talking about things. I am so... Jesus Christ! Oh, things are back to normal, I guess. Optimism? Man, that's cringe. What are you talking about? Based.